What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Battle of the Bands podcast. My name is
Hello.
Brandon Bowie.
And I'm Brandon Virgo.
And this week we're going to be talking about the 80s.
If you can't tell by our lovely costumes
for all you,
and outfits.
For all you visual watchers out there, all you audio listeners out there, for all you know, we could be wearing nothing. But
well, just to clarify, we are wearing something.
Oh, man. Damn it, Brandon. You took all of the mysteriousness out of that
I don't want to be that mysterious as a person. All right. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about the 80s, but, at first we should cover up some news and music.
Yeah,
recently.
So news for this week, Brandon. You're the one who discovered this one, so you go ahead and take the lead on this one, man.
Yeah, so for those who haven't seen it or haven't heard of it recently, but 21 Pilots did a live stream of yesterday or the other day back, and it was pretty fun. You get to see Tyler Joseph from the duo play games. And
does he normally have a Twitch, or is it just like, is this a special thing?
I think it was a special thing because I know he's done events. I know he's done events with like Ninja, the famous streamer, but I think there's like one of his like rare moments of streaming.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, Tyler Joseph went into some hot water. For those that don't know, with everything going on right now with the Black Lives Matter movement, he made a pretty stupid tweet on his Twitter account where people kept asking him about to use his platform as a way to advocate for Black Lives Matter rights and black rights in general. And honestly, I like during these times right now, I think it's a good idea. However, he kind of went in a different direction.
Yeah.
And instead, he posted a picture of him wearing platform high heels, and and his caption, I believe, was like, you guys wanted me to use my platform. Hey, well, here I am using my platforms. And
yeah.
It was. I don't think the intention was like as a way to show like, oh, I do not support Black Lives Matter, but
yeah, like
it's just dumb.
I feel like everybody knows that Tyler Joseph is he's like all for supporting like LGBTQ and like all fighting for human rights and stuff like that. But I don't know if that was the way to approach that. You know?
It's a too sensitive topic to make a joke like that.
Yeah.
It was just
also like we know he's done stuff in the past for like Black Lives Rights and like gay rights and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was just in bad taste.
But yeah, that was just not the right joke to make. So during the live stream
he took a moment to talk about what he did on Twitter, and honestly, when Brandon and I watched it, it was pretty sad because he could tell he felt this whole negative impact from like all this backlash that he received for making that joke.
Yeah, it wasn't like one of those like YouTuber apologies like
yeah, like
I am so sorry for my actions. You know, like not like one of those like hollow apologies. It was like
this one really felt genuine, and he talked about how he talked about how like, he didn't want to promote any of this stuff, but he talked about how he feels that his actions in the past have done like shown support for Black lives. He talked about how he has a nonprofit. I think it's incredible how like as someone as huge a celebrity as he is, how he's never brought it up before or ever advertised or promoted it. I think it's great that like he's doing this nonprofit in secret because
just for himself.
Yeah,
well, not for himself obviously, but I mean like he's doing it for the greater good.
Yeah, he doesn't want to like, he just does it because he wants to like help out these kids. He doesn't want to like, do it as a way to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he did bring it up, but as a way,
he's not like, look at me all these years, like no, it's no, he's a pretty, from what I see anyways, he's a pretty good person, pretty generous person,
Yeah, and he admitted like it was a mistake, he owned his mistake, and I feel that like what's really crazy is that like I understand there's backlash, but a lot of people apparently like sent him like death threats like to him and his family, and he just had a baby daughter too.
Come on,
like
man.
Apparently people sent like threats about his daughter.
People take it too far, man. Like that's, Oh, I mean, it must be especially hard for Tyler Joseph because of his fan base is so. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anybody that may be listening and is like a part of the clique, but like, some of y'all are crazy. You know?
You guys could be pretty toxic.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more toxic fan bases. No offense, there are plenty of very good 21 Pilots fans out there,
like me.
Yeah, like Brandon over here. So, but you know who I'm talking about. There's some weirdos in there. There's some you know.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's okay to not like 21 Pilots. Like I'm totally chill with that.
Just
don't get super defensive.
It's never valid to just wish death upon someone, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't
unless it's like Hitler.
I mean, it's great you want to show support for Black Lives Matter, but at the same time, it's like, why do people like feel the need, like as a way to defend someone, to put someone else down?
Yeah, that's true. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that he approached it the way he did.
I'm glad he owned up to his mistake, you know. And lastly, I wanted to point out that like he said near the end of his apology how like, you know, he's still growing and he's still learning. He talks about how like, you know, we grew up with him, and I think it's great that he said like I'm also growing up with you guys. You know, I think that was a great comment that he said before he left. He took a break, because I think it just shows how like, you know, just because you're a celebrity, you're still like human, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people seem to forget like we kind of hype up these celebrities, and the media nowadays kind of just put them on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, these are just normal people that want to do a specific thing. In their case, they want to do music, you know, and they just happen to be really good at it. But they're just people. They could be the same type of person that could be working right next to you at like Subway or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, transitioning from that, we're talking about the 80s this week.
Yeah, you ready to talk about the 80s?
Well, I'm ready to talk about the 80s. 80s is my favorite era ever.
Wow.
It's I don't think there was a more. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Man, I can't wait for us to talk about the 90s. That's my personal favorite.
There was like the 80s was such a defining period. Like it's such.
There's so many distinct sounds and moments.
Yeah, exactly. It stands out visually, culturally. Like it just everything about the 80s was so different.
Yeah.
And so much so that, or we're gonna talk more about this later, but so much so that you're seeing a lot of what was going on in the 80s.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like
now,
this like past like decade, there's been like this sort of revival of like the 80s sound.
Yeah, I mean, what comes around goes around, because I think we did well for a minute. It was like the 90s for like a few years.
Yeah,
it was the 90s, and now it's the 80s, and then now I'm seeing a resurgence of the early 2000s.
That's crazy. Yeah, like the early 2000s made a comeback. I was just a kid then. I was still alive.
I'm like the early 2000s just happened, so I don't even know what's going on there. But yeah,
I think it's just this like weird times right now where like people are just like dying for nostalgia.
Yeah, I think people are like throughout hard times, people are kind of reaching for what's familiar.
Yeah, they're sort of like longing for this like sense of like safety and, you know, secureness.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So, transitioning from there, what is your favorite artist? One of your favorite artists from the 80s?
Dude, it's kind of hard because like 80s brought out so many different genres.
This is true.
Like, if I were to pick one, wow.
Keep going. I'm just going to take off my jacket.
I'm stuck between The Cure and Guns N' Roses. Like, those are the two bands. Because they're so different, it's kind of hard to like, you know, put one over the other.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think maybe I might give the edge to Guns N' Roses because my dad and I grew up listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had a CD of their greatest hits, and my dad would blast it in the car. I always remember jamming out to Sweet Child of Mine in Paradise City. You know, it was just fun times. And I think that's why they're my favorite band from the 80s. What are your thoughts on them?
Guns N' Roses is definitely one of the more polarizing bands from the 80s, I feel like. Could be just because
sure.
of the controversy that they always had going on.
Like Axl Rose is a He's a crazy dude.
Axl Rose is absolutely crazy. He's absolutely nuts. But he just happens to be, for the most part, a really good singer.
Yeah, he's a great vocalist.
For the most part, when he's up to perform.
But that dude's crazy.
When he's not up for whatever's happening, it's very clear he doesn't want to be there. But I also have one of their albums. It wasn't one of the good ones, though. I was in Dollar Tree one year, and I went to the CD aisle because I was like, I just like to see what they have there because like $1 CDs, you know, like who knows. And I found an album by Guns N' Roses that I didn't even know existed called Chinese Democracy.
Oh my God, you got Chinese Democracy?
On CD, yeah. It was fucking awful. I like looked at it, it was in the 90s, it was their last album. It was with like Buckethead, and it had like all these weird songs on it. And it was very clear when you were listening to it that it was Axl Rose trying to bring back what was, but like the pieces weren't fitting together. Like it just wasn't working throughout the whole album.
Yeah, Chinese Democracy is definitely an album that I do not go back to.
No, I mean I listened to it once all the way through, and then maybe I listened to like one song in there like again a couple times after that, and that was it.
All right, but what about you, man? What would you say is your favorite band from the 80s? Wait, what are you wearing? What is that?
What is that? What is the shirt I'm wearing? I'm glad you're asking, Brandon. I'm wearing a Hall & Oates shirt from my very first concert ever.
Wow.
Hall & Oates. Does that answer my question, or should I continue?
I think you should continue. I don't think people know yet what your favorite band from the 80s yet.
So my favorite band in the 80s are a duo. One of them has a big mustache, and the other one has a lot of blonde hair. Hall & Oates is without a doubt my favorite group from the 80s.
Where did they rank in your top 10 favorite bands?
Where did they rank? Here, I can tell you right now, actually. It's in my notes. Hall & Oates ranked 4 on my top bands. For those who haven't seen that, by the way, check out our Instagram. We're Battle of the Bands podcast on Instagram, and we did a game where we try to guess the order of our top 10 bands without knowing, obviously, and then just seeing how close we could get. And it was a point-based game.
And guess who won by 1 freaking point?
That's me. I'm the superior Brandon for this week. So, if you want to see us guess that and more games to come check out our Instagram. But yeah, Hall & Oates, dude. Hall & Oates is the best. They're like the most successful music duo in all of music history.
Oh, wow.
No, like that's not even like my opinion. That's literally like a fact. But then also, how many like duos have there really been in history?
The White Stripes.
White Stripes, Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
There's
the Everly Brothers.
The what?
Everly Brothers. They're like a country.
Oh yeah, the Everly Brothers.
21 Pilots.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're technically a duo.
Yeah.
They might have passed them actually. Either passed them or they're on their coattails. But a lot of people I feel like, well, I guess people nowadays, they don't really understand how big Hall & Oates was. They were like, okay, so think about this. Hall & Oates was like the Post Malone of the 80s. Like they weren't the most popular. Like Post Malone's
super popular.
He's not number 1 though.
Who do you think's number 1 right now?
That's okay. So that's such a hard question.
Because right now, when I think who's like the biggest artist right now, I think Post Malone right away.
That's true. Because obviously in the 80s there was like Michael Jackson and stuff like that, but they just made hit after hit after hit. And in fact, a lot of people don't know this fact, but they actually just confirmed it. It was a rumor for a while, but their song "I Can't Go For That" inspired "Billie Jean" by Michael Jackson.
Wow. What an incredible honor.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Michael Jackson came up to them one year at Live Aid. I don't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was the big one. And he's like, hey, like he's like, I love that song. I just want you to know Billie Jean was inspired by that song. I hope that's okay, and blah, 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 stuff like that. Of course, when Michael Jackson asks if it's okay, you look at him and you say, "Yes, Michael, whatever you want."
That's funny because like a lot of people like consider Billie Jean to be Michael Jackson's like best song, like objectively his best song of all time. It wouldn't have happened
without Hall & Oates.
Yeah, who would have thought Hall & Oates inspired crazy? Michael, like the king of pop's, like arguably greatest song of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, that's crazy. I did not know that about Hall & Oates. That's a crazy fact.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, he was probably one of the most era-defining artists in the pop genre, or I guess in the 80s in general. He's just
I mean,
like he's the king of pop. So like it's nuts. Where were you when you found out he passed away? Remember?
It's funny because like when he died, I was on this whole Michael Jackson fandom. Like I had this
before he died.
Yeah, before he died, like right before he died, like probably the last year before he died, I was this whole like Michael Jackson hype, because they believe he announced it as like a tour, like before he died, and so like I was just on this Michael Jackson fandom. I would like watch a bunch of his music videos. I freaking love the black or white music video, and like Smooth Criminal.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then when I found out he died, I was like, well, great.
You're like, I chose a great time to become a Michael Jackson fan.
I got so sad. At the same time, I was like, I mean, who to listen to now?
Dude, it was nuts. I think I was at my grandparents' house. I was playing Nintendo 64 when I found out.
Dude, Michael Jackson had such an impact on society.
Yeah, I mean, like, Michael Jackson had an impact on like the music scene
in general
and dancing too.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously like he incorporated a lot of genres. He was a really good genre blender throughout his music. You know, he did incorporate elements of like hard rock, heavy metal, R&B, and you know, just like pure pop and hip hop. You know, it's really cool how versatile it is.
He was just respected all around, except for his, you know, controversies.
Like what?
Let's not get into that one. There's a whole documentary on it. If you want to go check it out, it's on Netflix. It's called. So what is it called? Like Neverland? What is it called? Babe,
maybe Leaving Neverland.
Do you know the Michael Jackson?
Leaving Neverland.
Leaving Neverland. Never mind.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael Jackson, great artist. As a person, maybe not so much.
We don't know though. He's dead, so like we don't know. You know. Speaking of
now that Michael Jackson, you say he probably is like the king of pop, and pretty much defined the pop music in the 80s. Who would you say defined the rock scene in the 80s?
You know what's hilarious about this? I was going to transition, but your transition's way better than my transition to this band. Dude, AC/DC without a doubt was the defining rock sound of the 80s. Do you want to hear my transition?
Well, first of all, I was going to say, I think I might disagree with you on that, on AC/DC defining the 80s.
Okay.
To me, when I think 80s rock, like, I think of, like, the emergence of hair metal, you know, the hard rock. Mm-hmm. And who I think of Metallica. That's who I think of when it comes to 80s rock.
Metallica was very, very prevalent in the 80s. I don't know,
because like the reason why I disagree is because
they're more metal though. They're more metal than rock.
I know, it's just that like
AC/DC and Metallica, they both have similar roles in both their genres. They're like the gateway into the genre.
I know, but like I think the reason why I disagree mainly is because like AC/DC has already been around in part of the 70s, and I know there's like difference between like Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, but like I just feel like when it comes to someone like in the 80s, defining the 80s, I want to look at someone who's like, you know, who started in the 80s and like, you know, like freaking like demolished that era.
Here's the thing about this. I'm gonna argue with you on this one. Oh, Battle of the Bands. Anyways,
our first official battle.
Dude, AC/DC, like, okay, so obviously, yeah, like you said, there's a like Bon Scott. There's Bon Scott AC/DC, and then there's Brian Johnson AC/DC. After Bon Scott died, like obviously, AC/DC was really good with Bon Scott, and we're. But the thing is, we're never gonna know what AC/DC would have been if Bon Scott continued. But Brian Johnson, he couldn't have been more of a better fit because he saw what AC/DC was. He knew what kind of a fan base they already had, and he executed in the best way he possibly could. And he did so much for the band. He shaped, like, despite what you think, obviously Bon Scott helped found, like, the band, set the ground level for the band. But Brian Johnson is the reason why we have AC/DC to the level of what it is today. But the thing is, though, that's because he took over. We're not gonna know. Yeah. We're not gonna know if Bon Scott would have led AC/DC to this level.
I feel like you also, like, I don't think it's, like, necessarily like Brian Johnson carried the band to what it is today, because I feel like
he gave us so many hits, though.
That's true, but at the same time, like, I feel like a lot of credit goes to, like, Angus Young, you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, it's a whole band.
Angus Young has, like, he's more like the frontman of the band than Brian Johnson, I would say. His stage presence is much more iconic with, like, his uniform, his schoolboy uniform, you know, him prancing around on stage with his guitar. You know, like, to me, of AC/DC, I think more first Angus Young than the lead singer. It's like one of those few moments where the front man is not the lead singer, kind of like Fall Out Boy.
That's true. I mean, if you think about it, so we have albums from Bon Scott going from 76 to 79.
Yeah.
That was the last album. Highway to Hell was the last album. And then Brian Johnson gave us Back in Black. Right, wait. Yes?
Did Bon Scott?
No, I think Brian Johnson gave us Back in Black. I'm gonna look this up right now, to just so we can okay, here we go. Yeah. So 1980 was the contributing. Brian Johnson joined AC/DC in 1980, which is when Back in Black came out, contributing lead vocals and lyrics to the band's breakthrough album, Back in Black. Like, it's obviously before Back in Black, you have so many good songs. You have Highway to Hell. You have All Dirty Deeds Done Cheap. You have what song am I thinking of from, like, super old, their first album, TNT.
TNT.
Yeah, but, like, here's like they said, here's what I think. Here's what I think. AC/DC before Brian Johnson is like Blink-182 before Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Travis Barker obviously didn't start the band. He didn't give the band the sound of what it was. But Travis Barker saw what needed to happen, and he carried the band through. Not carried it, but you know what I mean. Like, he helped carry the sound through and added in his own things. And now
Blink is what it is today.
Blink is Travis Barker. That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how, like, Travis Barker is not even an original member, but he's kind of like the face of the band.
Yeah, because, I mean,
there's also that incident though with the plane crash too.
Like, so I mean, we mentioned this in the last podcast.
Yeah.
If you listen to things that Travis Barker has a hand in, i.e., MGK's new album, it sounds like Blink, but it's just Travis. You know. So there you go. That's all I have to say about that. But obviously Metallica has a place in the 80s rock sound, but I think it's more
it's like
metal scene, you know?
That's true. But yeah, I mean, there's
Metallica
whole scene.
Is your gateway into, like, Def Leppard and stuff like that.
Like Slayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Megadeth. Yeah, this whole the hair.
It's Metallica is I'm sorry. Metallica is normie metal. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that Metallica isn't good. Metallica is super good. Like, James Hetfield is a legend, but it's like AC/DC and Green Day. They're all, like, gateways into the... They're the doormat Not like they get stepped on, but I mean like they're the first thing. Hate me if you want. Go for it.
You're still gonna get hated.
Go for it.
I personally don't like using the term normie. So yeah, I'm not gonna get canceled today. So that's cool.
Yep, come at me. I don't really care. That's my opinion on it. And this is the Battle of the Bands podcast, hosted by Brandon Virgo.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about a different type of rock music. Let's talk about the whole sort of like alternative indie synthesizer scene. You know?
Yeah, you're talking about like The Cure?
Yeah, I think The Cure was like became one of the most prominent. I feel like the 80s really branched into alternative music. It was like the gateway. I know the 90s like huge for alternative music, but I feel like the 80s really started it.
It's true. It really laid down a foundation of what we hear a lot of today. As a matter of fact, a lot of 80s like that synth pop indie rock kind of sound still plays on.
It's still really prominent today.
Yeah, it still plays on K-Rock to this day.
All you sad boys out there.
Yeah, listening to The Cure and the Smiths. I have the Smiths on vinyl. Wow, that was a hipster sentence right there. I have the Smiths on vinyl. There's a what is it called? There's a light that never goes out. I have that on vinyl, and it's got what song is it? Yeah, the song. That's the song, the single off the album. That's probably like one of the best songs they've made, in my opinion.
But yeah, I mean, I freaking love The Cure. I freaking love Robert Smith. That dude is such like an interesting frontman for me, and I love their whole aesthetic. You know, with all the eyeliner and the lipstick.
That's another thing that got carried on too.
Yeah,
dude, all the guy liner. Look at emo in the early 2000s and 90s, dude.
Yeah, I better thank The Cure for that.
Yeah, dude. Almost said Robert Plant. Oh my god.
But yeah, Robert Smith.
Yeah, Robert Smith.
But yeah, I freaking love Just Like Heaven. I love Friday I'm in Love. You know,
Just Like Heaven's one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah, of course.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Another sound from the 80s era I want to talk about is like that whole soft rock kind of thing, like Journey and like oh my god, what band am I thinking of?
You consider Journey soft rock? I feel like they're kind of like more like Heartland rock / glam rock kind of stuff.
I wouldn't call them glam rock.
I feel like there's like some glam elements though to their style.
Yeah, but I mean like it's inevitable.
They're definitely like showmanship wise. It's not really glam rock, but I feel like sonically there's definitely glam elements into their music.
That's true. A lot of ballads and stuff. Well, they're mostly ballads. That's why I like to say soft rock and stuff like that. But
like Don't Stop Believing, I made you think of like an 80s glam rock anthem.
That's true. But then Faithfully. You think of Faithfully.
That's like a pop rock ballad.
You think of like Open Arms. You think of but then there's also like and Wheel in the Sky.
Any Way You Want It.
Any Way You Want It. That's probably more of the glam rock.
I think it's crazy how the band Journey, what's the name of their lead singer again? Steve Perry?
Yeah, Steve Perry.
Yeah, Steve Perry. I think it's crazy how like that guy has such an iconic voice, but like he was in the band for just funny how like it's just crazy how things ended
the way they did.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of bands ended that way in that era. For some reason. So don't mind me, I'm just making another drink. Like a lot of bands, I feel like, I don't know what it was. I think it just was the nature of the scene. There was a lot of like it was probably a lot of the like drugs and the partying and stuff like that, because the 80s was one big party.
Drug fest.
It was big. It was a big party all the time. I mean, it was the era of Coke.
Yeah, dude, like, do you watch James Corden?
Sometimes.
It's funny because
It's funny that you say this. Do you watch James Corden?
I don't watch Carpool Karaoke. That's funny. But I do watch Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts.
Okay.
And one of his guests was Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, so do you know how it works, Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question James asked Steven was, how much money have you spent on drugs, do you think? And he said about $1 million, like just like straight to the point, you know, no hesitation. He was just so confident in his answer. And I feel like, wow, This dude is a freaking legend.
Dude, I mean, Steven Tyler's nuts though. His
crazy vocalist.
Yeah, crazy vocalist.
Super good
Just
voice.
like he shared. That's another thing that is very similar. That like in the 80s, there was a lot of those singers that like just could reach into the stratosphere.
Yeah, same. The one person I think of who's like a really powerful vocalist, like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden.
Yes,
That guy's voice is crazy. Like he could hit those notes. Oh,
like I don't know what it was in the 80s, but just those vocalists in the 80s are crazy. And the fact that I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, I'm sure it has to be common knowledge by now, but Journey obviously broke up a long while ago.
Yeah.
And since then they've had a lot of hit or miss lead singers. And recently in 2008 or
2007.
2007,
Yeah.
I was close. They were searching online the guitar player, I forget his name. And he found this person from the Philippines singing a cover of Faithfully,
and his name
called
is
the Zoo Band. And they reached out to him, and his name's Arnel Pineda. And he's the new lead singer. I guess not new anymore, but he's the current lead singer of Journey, and his voice is
very, very similar, very reminiscent of Steve Perry's.
Insane. It's insane. It's very clear that who his inspiration was.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a lot of
slight
inspiration.
distinctions between the voices, but man, it really is like a great way to
keep the legacy going
while at the same time kind of like staying true to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch him perform with like other bands like Chicago, I think there was a couple shows where he like did. I don't know if he did the whole show with Chicago or he did like a couple songs, but there's a couple shows you can see online where he's singing with them, and his voice is like, it's still there, it's still him, it's still that sound you hear in Journey, but like it's slightly shifted.
Yeah.
To the Chicago sound a little bit. It's weird. It's weird.
I think the same thing can be said about Queen and Adam Lambert. Adam Lambert is doing a great job, in my opinion, on like.
This is true. But okay, so here's the thing. Like Adam Lambert he's a very good frontman.
He doesn't sound anything like Freddie Mercury.
No,
but I feel like he's doing a great job honoring Freddie Mercury as a frontman for the band, while at the same time putting his own spin and definition on putting his own Adam Lambert twist on the Queen. That's why it's called Queen and Adam Lambert, not just Queen anymore.
Now, would you rather see them perform with Mark Martel?
Mark Martel?
Yeah. You know who that is?
Mark Martel. Oh my God, why am I blanking right now?
Oh, Lord, Brandon.
Wait, why am I blanking?
So, Mark Martel, for those who don't know, as well as Brandon, he is someone who... Well, he first made a bunch of covers on YouTube.
He's the one that he's the one that he does covers of Queen songs.
Yeah, that good job, Brandon. I just said that.
He's the one that he's the one that did like the vocal performances in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I was about to get into that.
I saved myself. Kinda.
He did that for a while on YouTube. Then he fronted a band that was actually conjoined together by Roger Taylor, called the Queen Extravaganza, and he went on tour singing Queen songs. I don't know why they didn't want him in the band, but he sounds exactly like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, he does sound very similar.
The thing, I think what it is like his head shape and
his jawline,
nasal cavity kind of shape. It's crazy. So he sounds so much like him that they used a majority of his vocals for the new Bohemian Rhapsody. Well, not new. You know what I mean. The Bohemian Rhapsody movie that came out a while ago. They said it was a mix between Freddie's vocals, Mark's vocals, and then obviously a little bit of what's his name in the movie played Freddie.
Rami Malek.
Rami
So
Malek.
honestly, it's just like, props to the sound mixing team for that. Then you guys did a great job. But
It was seamless.
In regards to your question, now that I remember who Mark Martel is, who would I rather see, Mark Martel or Adam Lambert?
With Queen.
Honestly, I had to see Mark Martel perform live because I don't know how his stage presence is.
That's true.
Because Adam Lambert nails the stage presence and
that's true.
As a frontman.
If you haven't seen it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the audience hasn't seen it as well. There's a viral video if you look at Mark Martel. I'm sure it's gonna be like one of the first ones that comes up. But there's a video of him performing on some TV show of Somebody to Love.
Oh, is it with Celine Dion?
Yes, with Celine Dion, and he makes her cry.
Yeah, she gets so emotional when she hears the start of it.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my god!" And just like has her hands over her mouth the whole time and can't believe it. But yeah, dude, incredible talent. I want to see him live, but he rarely comes over this way because.
Where's he from?
He's from Canada, so that's probably why. Yeah, there's so many bands I want to see, but just they don't live here. So, another big sound in the 80's was probably the like hip hop and like the.
But yeah, I'd probably say, but like, I don't think the hip hop scene kind of like started emerging in like the late 80's. I don't think it was there for like the entire decade.
Mm-hmm.
It only started getting big like post like 1985.
It was the back end of the 80's,
yeah,
for sure, but there was still prevalent, like it was like you know, like NWA. There's like
Run DMC,
Run
dude.
DMC.
Ooh.
Dude, it's tricky. You got Beastie Boys.
Dude,
you know,
Beastie Boys are crazy.
Representing white people everywhere.
That's like because like they started out as a punk rock band.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Okay.
And it's very clear. You can hear it.
Yeah, because they still incorporate rock elements. They're a rap band with rock instrumentals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like Sabotage. You just hear that song. That's a purely like hard rock song. You know.
You know who is Beastie Boys is a big inspiration for him?
Who?
Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park.
Oh, Mike Shinoda is like heavily influenced by Beastie Boys.
Yeah, it's like one of his big influences. It's funny because they're a hybrid band, and he's like,
yeah,
because they're a hybrid band of rap
and metal
and rock, and he's like, I can do that. It's the same thing, but with metal.
Honestly, it makes sense. Like I get that.
Yeah,
you can tell that through the Linkin Park's music.
It's funny because like, you hear a lot of early Linkin Park, like super early Linkin Park before they were called Linkin Park,
mm-hmm.
and it's like completely different sound, way different.
Oh yeah,
it's just not as like there. I don't know what happened, but yeah, dude.
I think just evolving with the times. You know, what people trying to figure out what people want to hear,
mm-hmm.
and you know, rock's. It's sad to say, but like you know, rock's at a low point nowadays.
Yeah, I mean it's really, it's such a very. What do I say? It's very like there's not a lot of representation in the fact that people are starting to cross genres. Like it just like there's no genre defining artists as much anymore. Because it's more often nowadays where you watch or listen to an artist and you're like, what genre are they in? Like what would you call that?
Because like have you seen the Billboard charts for the top rock and alternative songs?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so number 1 is a song called Mood.
Dude, I love that song by 24. What is it?
Golden featuring Ian Dorr. 2 is Come and Go by Juice WRLD and Marshmello.
I actually haven't heard that song yet.
High Hopes by Panic at the Disco.
Okay, I mean Panic is. I mean they're slowly going more pop, but
yeah,
they're still representing that genre.
AJR Bang.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Deathbed by Powerful featuring BOTB.
Okay.
Cardigan by Taylor Swift. Okay. 7 Level of Concern. It's clearly obvious that this would never be considered rock and alternative music.
No. No. This is just like we have an obligation to fill this category, so we have to.
Yeah, and like I believe it was ARTV. He posted this. He posted these charts on his story. He's like, "This is so pathetic. This is obviously a joke now."
The whole thing about that is that like where we're headed or where we have been headed for the last few years is this like very disco heavy alternative sound, you know, which I love. I love that whole like disco sound, you know, but like.
It's not really rock.
It's not rock. It's a whole different genre. So I don't think, like, I don't know. Is it just bands aren't trying to do that anymore? They're trying to hop onto that that whole disco like funky kind of thing that like I don't know who the first one was to do it, but
I think The Weeknd is kind of like one of like the first artists to do that.
There's also Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno Mars did
the whole
70s like disco, 80s sound.
I don't know who defined it. Comment down below though if you know where the whole disco led sound that we're seeing a lot now, like Dua Lipa and stuff like that. Where the hell did that come from? If you know, please comment down below. If you are listening to us on Spotify or stuff like that, we have a Discord.
Maybe it was Tame Impala.
Oh shoot, Tame Impala. That's right. Why are they not on there?
Yeah, they are. Oh, on this like the charts.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I guess people are not listening to them. I don't listen to them.
That doesn't make any sense. They play everywhere.
Maybe it's time for me to get canceled. I don't listen to Tame Impala.
What?
I don't know. It's just not for me.
Why?
I'm not really into the Kevin Barker's vocals. It's kind of, and this whole psychedelic rock genre in general is pretty hit or miss with me, if I'm being honest.
Man, what the hell, man? It's such a good sound.
I do believe that there is an audience for it. I don't think it's bad at all. It's just a sound that I'm not that interested in or enjoy particularly.
Yeah, go shit on him in the comments. Just do it. Just go all over it.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna hate you more for calling.
No, that didn't happen. What are you talking about? We're not talking about that anymore.
Brandon Bowie.
We're talking about.
He called Metallica.
We're talking about you not liking Tame Impala right now. We're not talking about that anymore.
Who was normie metal music by the way?
That was so 20 minutes ago.
Well, anyways, I think, but yeah, this whole like revival and sound from this whole disco era, I think it goes well with the whole 80s sound in general. I mean, Paramore released probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite albums from their discography, After Laughter.
Yeah, that is super like...
It's super 80s, super pop 80s. Rock, indie, just pure fun, even though it was pretty emotionally kind of sad.
Yeah, lyrically very sad. But yeah, The Weeknd, very 80s forward, super 80s forward from the get-go.
Yeah.
And if you want him to sound even more 80s, there's like 80s remixes of his songs that like, sound so good. Like I Feel It Coming, there's an 80s remix of that song, and it just sounds like Baby making music. It's so good. It's so good.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, just like that. And then there's obviously Tame Impala.
If you guys want to check out a band that's bringing back this 80s revival, where like their sound just in general is like pure like 80s, like electro pop, alternative rock, I definitely recommend. I don't know how, but they found me.
You were gonna mention them.
They're a super dope band. They're
how much are they paying you? Since you're best friends with them now.
I'm not best friends with them. They just shared my post on their story once, okay? And I just happened to like it a lot. And they also liked my post that I tagged them in. Okay.
They also cool. Like posts that they're not even tagged in though, right?
No, they only like the post that I tagged them in. Gotcha. But yeah. Thank you. I love you guys. But yeah, I don't know how, but they found me. They're definitely one of my favorite bands to listen to right now.
I mean, their name is an 80s reference in itself.
Yeah, it's literally a reference to Back to the Future.
Oh, my hand. I just hit my hand on the table for all you audio listeners.
But yeah, they released their album Razzmatazz, and that's my favorite album of the year. I love the lyrical content of that album. It's just super sweet and emotional. Down's a lyrical genius, and... Brandon, if you guys don't know, what?
I've only listened to one of their songs.
Dude, you need to listen to them more, okay?
I've only listened to one of their songs. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm letting you down right now.
If you don't know, I don't know how, but they found me. You might recognize the people. Their lead singer and bassist, Dallin Weeks. Do you know who Dallin Weeks is?
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Dallin Weeks?
Yeah, he's the lead singer and frontman of the band.
Oh.
Yeah, for those who don't know Dallin Weeks, he used to be the bassist for Panic at the Disco, and he went from being a bassist to being a touring member to just leaving the band.
I feel stupid. I should listen to them.
Yeah.
I should be listening to them. Wow.
There's some like hot blood between, Panic at the Disco and Dallin Weeks. Apparently, he didn't like the way he was being treated. But yeah.
There's a lot of, there's probably a reason why it's just Brendan Urie and friends. Yeah. Brendan Urie and the traveling band.
And then, the other guy is Ryan Seaman. If you guys don't know who that is, he used to be the drummer of Falling in Reverse. For all you teeny bopper emo fans.
Wow, so it's like a super band.
Yeah, it's kind of like a super group. You think about it. Jack White, they're coming for you.
Speaking of supergroups, did you know that there was a supergroup with the lead singer of AFI, I forget his name, and the rest of the members of No Doubt?
Oh, what are they called?
It was called like Dream Car or something like that.
I never heard of that.
I remember them coming out with it on K-Rock, and I was like, "What? That sounds crazy. That sounds like an amazing concept." And they made one album and didn't make any more albums after that.
Was it a good album though?
It was pretty good. I liked it.
Was it like during Gwen's pop solo stuff?
It was what?
Was it like created during like Gwen's pop solo stuff?
Yeah. It was after that whole separation thing.
Well,
so yeah.
I mean, Gwen's pop solo stuff is still really good, but there's just something about No Doubt where like that sound is just super iconic and just makes you feel good.
I'm waiting for Gwen to make a country album.
Well, did you hear Gwen's new song? Let me reintroduce myself.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's pretty cool. It's a really fun throwback to her early 2000s self.
Oh no way!
Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it combines elements of No Doubt and like her pop career, her early pop career. It's really cool. It's a nice, nostalgic song. But
yeah. I mean, I just think it's so crazy. Oh my God! How did we not mention this before we get too off topic with the 80s? We didn't mention the punk scene in the 80s.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So the punk scene was. I mean, we should obviously know about this. The 70s punk scene. The very. So okay, so it's super interesting. Super interesting, yeah. Like super interesting. Like they were the pioneers. You got your Ramones, the Clashes, the bands.
No, Ramones were just called Ramones.
Oh, I thought it was the Ramones.
No, they're just called Ramones.
Oh, well, never mind. Anyways, then you go super underground in the 80s for some reason. I don't know why.
Dead Kennedys.
You get Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, Bad Religion, Operation Ivy. Well, the early
Misfits.
The early onset of Bad Religion, Operation Ivy, and stuff like that. The Descendants, obviously, very influential. Green Day somewhere in there too, but they weren't really around. But
they're more 90s, but yeah, they've been around since 1986.
They was really the brooding ground for why punk is popular now, because the 80s was so underground. It created this hardcore group of fans that loved the genre so much. So you have to know how they felt when they went super mainstream in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, I'm like, they're the weirdos and freaks, right? So they're like, oh, I'm amongst,
we're the outsiders.
We're amongst our own people.
Yeah.
And that's what that community was. And then the 90s just fucking blew the roof off of the punk scene, and then it was cool to be punk after that, which was an oxymoron in itself.
Yeah. Punk's not dead.
Punk is pretty dead.
I know.
Punk is pretty
it's
dead,
hard to
man.
admit, but
I don't know any new punk bands in the scene. I should really listen to more punk bands in the scene.
I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but like the closest thing to like new punk rock that's big, Youngblood.
Are you talking like mainstream?
Yeah.
Youngblood isn't really punk rock though. Punk rock.
Like
he's more
like
emo. He's more like.
But his attitude is very punk, and his aesthetic.
Have you ever heard of The Used?
Yeah, I know The Used. They're like
he
an emo.
He sounds just like him. The guy from The Used. I don't know his name.
Dude, I had no idea The Used and the My Chemical Romance had a Christmas song.
What?
Wait, no. Wait. The Used and My Chemical Romance had a cover song. It's not a Christmas song. I'm just stuck in Christmas times right now.
I didn't know that was a thing at all. But he sounds just like the guy from The Used.
Under Pressure. They did a cover of Under Pressure.
That is not a Christmas song at all.
I'm just stuck in because it's December right now.
I was so excited for a second. Anyways, yeah, he's kind of representing the whole emo scene, which is back essentially. We already mentioned this. We already talked about this in the last podcast, but it's essentially back, but with a hip hop twist.
Yeah, but like, holy crap! My Chemical Romance making a comeback like last year, like that was insane. Like people freaking blew up. Concert tickets sold out like immediately.
And he got fat.
No body shaming here.
No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody.
I'm just kidding.
Gerard Way's happy. He's successful.
Yeah,
he has the Umbrella Academy.
He doesn't have to impress anybody. He's Gerard Way.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying that because everybody was like shitting on him for that. I really don't care. Obviously, I'm not skinny, but yeah, dude, that was insane. We're approaching the 55-minute mark. I think this would be a good transition into Q&A.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me pull out and see how many people responded.
While you're looking at that, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. If you want to participate in the podcast, we do a Q&A at the end of every single podcast. If you want to participate, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Battle of the Bands Podcast. We also have a Twitter coming soon as well. We're gonna start probably doing stuff on there, so that way you guys can know what's going on. And we also have I don't know if the Discord's set up. Is the Discord called Battle of the Bands?
Or it's called Music Appreciation.
Oh, it's called Music. I'm going to rename it literally after this. It's going to be called Battle of the Bands. By the time this comes out, it's going to be called Battle of the Bands. So you can always go on there. We have like a listening pit and things like that, so you can queue up music and talk about music with people that have like-minded things. We have every genre you can think of in a subtopic, so you can just go there. There's people that go in and they will like link a video on every single subgenre, so that way they can start a conversation. It's pretty cool. So yeah.
All right, you ready for the cue?
Okay.
All right, so this question is from @blindboy. He said, "What band made you really get into music and when?" Do you want to answer this first or me?
You go for it.
Okay, so for me, it was back in like freshman year of high school. The band that really got me into music was 21 Pilots.
Really?
Yeah, I know Green Day is my favorite band of all time, but for me to like really start delving into music and like go study like lyrical contents and just doing background and history of bands, it was 21 Pilots. I mean, I was just obsessed with like the lyrics from the album Blurry Face, even though it's like now looking back, it's not my favorite album from the duo.
It's influential though.
Yeah, Blurry Face was definitely had the biggest impact on me as a listener because like, it just got me. I was just so impressed by the idea that like, wow, it's just a duo for a band.
Yeah,
it's just two guys. And when I would like always watch concert videos on YouTube with them, and seeing them perform live in concert is just so amazing.
It looks so fun.
They put up great live shows. I was able to take my dad to a 21 Pilots show once, and that was my dad's first ever concert too.
No way.
Yeah, it was such a great bonding.
How did he like it?
Us. He loved it.
No way.
Yeah, he was so impressed seeing Josh Dunn in the crowd drumming.
Brandon's dad is like a total like stereotypical Filipino dad as well. So I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, like
that's so cool.
I believe it was a song like "Heavy Dirty Soul." My dad got so excited. He's like, "This is so cool!" Like he got all giddy. I was just like so happy to see him happy. But yeah, it was a great, fun bonding moment for us. But yeah, I'd definitely say 21 Pilots are the reason why I'm so heavily invested into music as I am. That's
cool, man. The band that I could probably thank for that is definitely Linkin Park for me. I don't know if I told this story on the last podcast or not. I'll tell it again. When I was 5 years old, my aunt gave me a copy of Hybrid Theory. Thank you, Auntie Delta. I carried that CD with me forever, and that I listened to it so many times over. Like it was really my gateway. Because before that, I remember my parents listening to like the R&B and hip hop of the era. But and then I listened to that, and I was like, oh my god, this is so like in your face, and like this, it's like heavy, and like it gets your blood going and stuff like that.
I'm about to break.
Yeah, and then I started listening to other bands from that scene. I remember specifically listening to like Senses Fail, and like I remember getting into the emo scene.
Did you have any other new metal or metal bands in your top 10 list, or is Linkin Park the only one?
Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I don't remember. There's like Sum 41.
Okay, they're kind of
Sum 41's kind of like new metal, but they're really more like
just like hard
punk rock, like hardcore, borderline hardcore. They're the only ones that are probably similar, just because my music taste just varies.
Yeah,
it just varies a lot. But yeah, it was them, and then it just led me down that path, and then I actually still had the CD up until a couple of years ago. I ended up selling my old car because it was a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
the transmission was going out, so I was like, time to go, buddy. Sorry. But the CD player was broken, and in the CD player, I had the set of CDs that my aunt gave me at the time, and in addition to like a couple other I received at the time.
You have
the
a
CDs
cool
that
aunt.
were
You have a cool aunt.
the CDs that were stuck in there was Hybrid Theory, which is one of my favorite album of all time. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, which is another one of my favorite albums of all time. I also had Move Along by All American Rejects, so I also saw
Totally underappreciated band.
Super underappreciated. They actually, they just came back, and then like a lot of other like stuff that nobody knows about, like Star Bomb and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had no idea who Star
Yeah,
Bomb is.
it's like a video game nerd band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, Linkin Park, dude, huge place in my heart. The reason why I'm into rock music, alternative music, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I just want to like quickly add on to what I said about 21 Pilots. I feel like 21 Pilots is like, given who my top 10 favorite bands are, you wouldn't expect to see a band like 21 Pilots on that list because they're kind of like the pop indie band.
Oh, you mean like in addition, like as opposed to the other bands on your list? Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, again, like, they're the band I discovered that in high school. They have a very personal connection to them. That sounds super cheesy, but yeah. I just want to add that before I forget. Do you want to do one more question?
Yeah, we'll do one more question and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
So this question comes from @FancyFlannel. Oh, by the way, I know this dude. He's a super cool dude. He's making music. Super proud of you, Matt. All right.
Oh, it's Matt. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He asked, favorite instrument and why? You could take the lead on this.
Well, favorite instrument. That's hard, dude.
I like the triangle.
Triangle. Oh, crap. Probably, though, it's not here, but I think drums are probably my favorite instrument just because it shapes. It doesn't, like, I don't play the drums. What are you laughing at?
Because you said the drums is your favorite instrument, and I've only seen you play the drums like 3 times.
No, I was about to explain that.
But drumming is such a different experience. As a professional drummer.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, Hey, Brandon, editing this. Cut back to the conversation of Brandon being in a band. Go.
No.
We're back. Brandon, yeah, you were in a band. Anyways, I don't play the drums, obviously, but like, it's my favorite because it's like the foundation to a song. Essentially, you can't have a song without some kind of percussive sound. You know, I mean, unless it's like a strictly piano song. The video stopped, but it's fine. I'll put up a graphic or something because we're almost done. But yeah, drums without a doubt.
Yeah, I think like when you like playing it physically, I feel like the drums just hit different. You know, there's like a sort of like passion and emotion. Sure, like obviously you feel that with any instrument you could play, but I feel like the drums there's just a physical difference. You know, for me, you know, given how talented of a musician I am, I don't know. I mean, I did play drums in my 6th grade metal band, but I want to say the drums, but I don't know. There's just something about like the electric guitar that's just super like, you know, super engaging. You know, all the frontman and rock bands when they do crazy guitar solos, and whenever you see them like, well, for me, when I saw Green Day live, one of the most insane moments was Green Day bringing out a fan on stage, and he got that fan to play guitar with him, and when they were done performing, he gave the guitar to that person.
Yeah,
and I think that's just such like an incredible moment.
I think he did that the whole Rev Rad tour.
Yeah, he pretty sure does with any guest.
He has like a whole whole truck of guitars ready to go.
But like, you can't really do something with that with drums, you know. Like,
here's a whole drum set, kid.
Thanks. How am I supposed to bring this back into the crowd with me?
All right, I don't know, but yeah, get off the stage.
But yeah, I think the guitar is just really cool, and like all the different chords could like evokes so many different emotions, and just like when you hit the right chords, you just creates this like feeling or emotion that like really hits with you.
What I think is really cool are bass guitarist led like frontmen. You know what I mean?
Well, bass guitars are super underrated.
Well, technically 21 Pilots, Tyler Joseph technically plays bass.
Yeah, he's a lead bassist.
He's technically a bass led. It's a bass led band, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also Royal Blood recently coming up in the scene. Way back in the scene was MXPX, Mike Herrera.
I don't know how, but they found me as a bass led band.
Yeah, that too. No Effects with Fat Mike, another bass led band.
Blink-182. Do you consider them?
Well, he's like a co-leader.
But I feel like Mark is like.
Well, it's because Tom's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Tom was really hit or miss. But I feel like Mark was really like an advocate for the band, but it was really 50-50. I feel like the way their songs were made were more 50-50. But yeah.
All right.
Do we have any more questions, or is that
no? Just a bunch of stupid joke questions.
Joke questions. Do you want to say any of them? Or?
No, because they're mean.
What do you mean?
Fine, I'll read one.
Just read one joke one.
God, I got bullied for this. When will Brandon Virgin expand his music taste?
I don't know, man. What did you expect?
I listen to other stuff. I just talk about rock and alternative music.
Oh okay. My god! I mean, the podcast is called Battle of the Bands, so I get it. But
I freaking love Childish Gambino. I listen to Kendrick Lamar, Lauryn Hill. I listen to Lady Gaga, Beyonce. I listen to other artists of different genres.
Who's that by? Who's the tag?
Yeah, let's tag him just so they can get bullied. At David.Hoey.
At David.Hoey.
Yeah.
Is that Darby?
DAVID HOEIE.
Wow, you were really wow. Darby, to answer your question on that one, I'm not sure, but I'm working on it. I'll get him.
I do. I have a battle.
No,
of
Brandon,
bands.
that's we're out of time here, buddy.
I have a battle of the bands. Dedicated
thank you for checking out Battle of the Bands, the podcast.
I need to dedicate a whole other episode of me talking about what other music I listen to.
Check out our Instagram. See Brandon try to defend himself in this in some way. My name is Brandon Bowie.
Yeah, and I'm Brandon Virgo, aka at Mr. B Virgo,
aka no taste in music. Apparently. Thank you for checking out Battle of the Bands.
I have no taste.
Look in the description down below click on all the things. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys. Bye.